I've seen a lot of interesting game controllers in my time, but this one is really bizarre. The RADICA GAMESTER, which is a pseudo steering wheel for the PlayStation or PlayStation 2. You don't turn it like this though. Can you imagine how this works just by looking at it? It works like this. You hold it and drive like that. It's actually quite creative, quite clever, and it does work. I tested it with Gran Turismo 4 and Gran Turismo 2 on the PlayStation 2, and you drive, you hold down the button and steer like this, so you're using one hand for support. In fact, if you look underneath it here, it has other buttons. I'll show you that in a moment. You use one hand for support and the other one for analog steering. If we take a close-up look at this thing, you can see how it slides back and forth. It's got some resistance there. It's spring-loaded. Actually, it's quite smooth and feels like it's manufactured fairly well. It has a rumble function, so you get a bit of a rumble for the Gran Turismo driving experience. Here's your normal PlayStation buttons. This would work like the D-pad. This lights up red when it's in use. Start, select, and mode button. GAMESTER. Interesting title. Look underneath. Here's the R1, R2, L1, and L2 buttons. It's a steering wheel that doesn't really, well, it's not really a wheel. It's a steering device. The RADICA GAMESTER, copyright 2000. Plastic shell, slight texture, doesn't get fingerprinted. Certainly looks interesting. I have a feeling this was intended for driving games, and I don't personally care for using this with the Gran Turismo games or driving games, but there's so many games out there for the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation that there might be a game that really benefits from the RADICA GAMESTER, something where you really want a long range of motion. It's almost like one of those old school Atari paddle controllers. The issue I have with this is that you have to keep a very firm hand on it to hold it and use it properly. The steering wheels tend to attach to something, whereas this is attached to your arm. Well, sort of. Not entirely sure what other games this would be good for, but I'm sure this is good for something. Here's the plug for the PlayStation, the GAMESTER. What a strange name. I think I've got this thing covered. If you're not happy with the DualShock controllers for your PlayStation 2 or PlayStation, but you don't want a wheel, this is somewhere in between. The purgatory of driving controllers. The RADICA GAMESTER.